way of coming up with it. So, yeah, I think it's really about solo damage because I that is to just fight down. But even with this addition, solo is still the cost of most of my death. Something wrong always happens with solo. But at the very least, the addition of Chi also helped a bit with killing Deathstroke, so that's good. And the addition of Chi did contribute later on where I finally got back to fighting Astromeda, which I well. But then Astromeda just turned up to the argument. Anyway, I both don't have enough defense to protect myself and don't have enough damage to kill myself. The worst part is, it's really impossible to have anything in the lineup that would help with Astromeda without sacrificing something in the lineup that would have been key for either Deathshot or Zolomon. I just can't win. If I try to make the start off for the system, then I'd be lacking units for Astromeda. If I put more units for Astromeda, then I'd use more runs to counter the match. My units that works for all at once, but it doesn't work. It's just pretty simple for me at this point. I watch highlight with it also both Solos and Deadshot. I think but I don't know. I mean, there have been no reasons. It's not like the same possible. But from what I've heard, it's usually either S31 talent or target or given the amount of time I put in, maybe God would have taken that time at this point, but I kind of right now I'm already both in game. Along with the game already. I decided that the attempt was very easy. This is stupid. 3 days later, I set up another stream for more stage, but to bring me the first one to this stage of I set up a more attention only to satisfy my and during that time there was some progress made, and those progress made me relatively hopeful that this would be the day when I would finally on the stage. Just a few hours of time should do it, I just need to beat it once, and I feel about it. Well, it just things don't do so well through the table, so 4 to 5 hours should be more than enough to get one clear on the stage. Again, seconds. I extended the time about 9 minutes just to make sure this is the efficient of Metaphor. Metaphor is the rage of automatic optimism with both. Only Metaphor is used against the optimism, slow it down and are strong against it, and usually sometimes for the surgery. But this stage has none of it. Instead, it's used to build the ability to create a wall of surge. The wall of surge is a pretty good wall of protection. Although, as well as get caught by the surge when instantly off. This can help for both the front team and during the Astromeda fight as well. Not to just use Astromeda during the Astromeda phase, but also because this damage is just enough to shut down Astromeda. So it's kind of the answer of a deal that's kind of actually good for everyone. Also, one time, I was initially worried that Urel's surge might be a little heavy. Urel's not really known for this guy, and due to how surge damage works, surge's damage usually so if one search thing doesn't go well, it doesn't just be able to do the search and go to so let's look at the numbers. All of the stage has 180% magnification, giving it 8,099 shots. Meanwhile, the level of the Urel's base damage and search damage is 8,100. Exactly one above someone's health. Both plant holders? This is an insane coincidence, but it works out in my favor. Anyways, adding Urel to the team helps all along. Consistency for the front team skyrocketed with the help of Urel and the team, and even then, sometimes solo misses. And so, aside from Urel, I also have Slime back in the team to replace Waving Bahamut. Waving Bahamut at this point just triggers the anti-cheat way too often, and that's just a run where it's always frustrating to deal with. Plus, I hit it out of it. Kind of difficult to use with so I'm up back. Fine. I also tried out Microwave, a mid-range anti-zombie on the enemy's back, which is partially useful to the control in order to push the Red 4 into that robust range so that Red 4 may but partially the other range. This way, when you're dealing with range, you don't even need that much. You could just use Ectowave to force the Brave to push back with a Rocksteady Buster. And yes, I actually did came across one where I was able to kill both Dreadwar and Astromeda. That's the reason why I tried Ectowave. Because at that run, everything would have gone fine if I was able to just knock Gravy back, but I didn't have that. yeah, here and there were some changes and some improvements, and I don't know, it feels a bit weird, but maybe I was doing better just having more progress on screen or some reason. I don't know. Maybe I just like strategize better if I don't have an audience watching. Maybe I still in the lineup now. More than Slime and Windfish routine, but Australia and Red Bull remains to be one of the biggest wall blockers. And I've only gotten through both Australia and Red Bull in one run. It's progress, but it's still not enough. But at least now we're caught up. Time to begin my now, I will say that going through every little thing that happened on screen was gonna be way too much. There was a lot, and I mean a lot. How much? One of the first changes that I made on stream was replacing Shigong with Roadhog by focus on stalling Astromeda rather than Red Bull. Red Bull is a little bit of a problem, but Red Bull can be burst down using any features to help Nova slow, so Astromeda felt like a bigger threat. This complements for the Astromeda part, but it also makes some other parts weaker since a lot more enemies stage are. I also tried to put Research Combo back. Delicat is using help for Deadshot. I prefer, well, I prefer the enemies, which could come in handy if you ever got the crazy part. Now, those changes is more normal, so I like to compare them with the one of the units that I also put in Halberd, with her ability to guarantee. She could guarantee her, but her activation is so intense. Yet, I was just enough to be able to complete it. Next month, which actually does help her with achieving it as hit next month. That is also helpful with the projector. Ultimately, it comes to it. I also tried to I need to be really close to my base to avoid Filibuster hitting me. Well, that's where Cat got me. Essentially, with his guaranteed knockdown, once Filibuster is finished with his attack, I'm able to use Cat Dot to push Astromeda and Dreadport back, just to make sure that my Cat base won't get deleted. Aside from these, I also keep swapping some units here and there to other units of their same roles, like I can try aside from Rover, maybe Razor, Lightball. Lightball actually did really well. It's expensive, but he got very relevant immunities, and his health was pretty good. I also moved around like an Owlbear, similar, or barrier breakers like Liberty and Oxygen. But I also noticed that some units have just so much disabled, it's really hard to replace them in the game. Nova and Valkyrie are on top. Nova is just really smooth because it's just at all. Not having Nova is drop other shields, but shields are not damaged. We kind of need it. And Valkyrie is way behind in that all, especially when she's using double damage and yet, even despite being basically stable, they have much of their own time. Nova's really on the lower side when she has a bit of a spot, so Red Ward is just one not this pass. Valkyrie opening struggle very her damage which is essentially like when she's about to die. If protected well, then her strengthen wouldn't trigger. If not protected well, then her strengthen will trigger, but she will die. It's really well. And yet, there's just not much other better candidates that I can think of. They're pretty much staying still. Another one is Furiel, which is technically not super important. Like, he's not Omega vital, but just helps you to so well. And it overall just makes the run the dominant part. And after so many runs, I would say the runs have so far been progressing. It's like going okay, but like it's going just 2 hours in, you haven't gotten a win. I don't think that's how it's great progress. It's just that, man, always something weird, crazy. It was just give us a chance. Oh no, what's up with it again? Oh yes? Question mark? Oh gosh. Weird. Oh boy. Furiel is exactly the filibuster. And don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I guess you go all out. Uriel is back there doing their thing. On CJ did get the CJ. We're going to do it crazy. What the like two? Like four? I mean, I guess I can lure. I can top one and go for the monster. All of my units are currently in cooldown. There's nothing here that can go straight. Cat Dog don't dodge. Oh, there's just real another 50% chance Cat Dog is gonna survive. This is a weird point flip. If Cat Dog survives, it's just oh my god. No, okay, never mind. One eraser managed to go through anyway. It would lose. And I'll fight it to the bitter end, but I'm pretty sure we're oh man. Still something not that great. Let's think of it. Remember that it's not that happy. Why would you just walk up and drop with the buster on their own? Theoretically, this is giving you more time to deal with both Red War and Estrada. There's a little bit of a problem, which is that since we have more time to deal with Estrada and Red War, it is more likely that our ranged units will push inside Filibuster's attack range. This means that once Filibuster launches attack, all of my opponent units are going to be wiped out. Very good chance not have to attack or even from the Red War for alive. But extra time is extra time. For this run, I was able to beat a strong, but then here's the issue. What I could have done is to load Filibuster always. That way, Filibuster will have million in the position so that I can interrupt it. It hopes that I have a better chance to deal with Brave in extra time. But it just so happens that Cat Dog's ability to dodge any attacks 50% of the time just rocked. And if you remember how LD works, I can't pull Filibuster to the very quick there that Cat will still alive on the field. So that's last shot. That really funny thing. I did accidentally spawn a little eraser of the side of Filibuster's flash, so even if Cat Dog dodged the rock, I still also, this is actually not the first time that the strong with a warp flip thing happens. The same thing actually happened in one of my first runs. The Gorilla just teleported? Why? But it didn't matter to me at the time because I couldn't even finish the I don't like that run. But still, you get to the time and you press it up. It's just reliant on the strong on already. I don't like relying on skill or strategy, but I figured that since I did potential because it works, I'll just be on the lookout if it ever. And there's actually a decent amount of time where it's with more Buril, but it wasn't always good. I get the strategy. There's just so much things that Kaplan added, we added, being put in consideration. And at this point, there's just so many there's just so many things to test, and a lot of gatherers from the stream keep on questioning every single decision and right up and not in my life. Why do you have this? Why do you try this? Why don't you have this? And it gets pretty annoying to have to answer like before. So someone just to put up a essay, and I thought, that's a really I mean, it's an OPM display on screen explaining basically the reasoning of why every single unit in my lineup, why every single other unit that are not in the lineup are in the lineup. Frankly, on the lineup. Not in the lineup is simply, I tried it and it was unsatisfactory. But a lot of the other times, why I don't like using my lineup is simply just that I can't fit them in. For example, one of the biggest questions that I've had is that why don't I have Walter? Walter seems to be like a great thing. And the answer is there's just no spot for Walter. It's not that it's not important enough. I only have 10 minutes to work with and people just suggesting things to put in, but never suggesting things to take out. And that's just the biggest dilemma I have to take out in the stream. Putting units in isn't the problem, but triggering what I can take out for them. If that whole one's wrong, the whole thing gets trumped, and nobody in the chat ever take out. It's just nice to have something that keeps track of all of the changes when a bunch of the changes start to make sense. Like, there was a part of the stream where for like half an hour or so of attempts, Goro just kept on missing everything of it. Either him like whipping his attacks or his surge.
Sci-fi. Hi.
Never actually follow. And after a little bit of frustration, I just put it out. Not because I thought like taking it out would make it run better or anything. I just felt like I felt like I'm running. But eventually just actually run third. Okay, so alright, fine. Oriel, you're ungrounded, but goddamn it, better do well. These are like one of the few things that I do how much I love. That's not a proper. You know who else I tried? Little Macho. This is really good its ability to not be for a strong. The reason what I said was that how, you know, maybe theoretically that's basically the thing. But I ended up actually not with the Macho Legs because instead I got suggested.
Your favorite Star Wars hero. Dark side, strike fear into any opponent.
Not using Little Macho Legs because instead I got suggested this. Now Liberty to knock back alien. Wait, you're right. She does have an alien knockback. Now hold the phone. Oh my god. This is what it's for. Do I want to irreversibly change my ability to make it generally worse for this one stage? 50% knockback at max? That's so inside the expert back in their own blood, it might be fine. Okay, listen. On one hand, yes, maybe this can make him slightly worse in some regards. On the other hand, it'd be mad funny though. Remember that 5 talents are irreversible, and giving alien knockback to City of Liberty will absolutely make it perform worse in the stage. And you know what? I bought it. I bought the talent. And guess what? After testing it, the talent didn't even really help. I spent like 75 SP making this City of Liberty worse potentially for other things, just for the sake of testing. And it didn't really help. Sometimes it works in like helping their ability, but some other times it also makes my attackers miss their attack. But Strongman is still really annoying. Probably one of the most frustrating things to deal with in the stage. How did Nova not snipe that? What? Well, avoiding Nolan's randomness was what we were for, and it does help quite a bit in consistency in that regard. As for the Strongman warp, that's also where White Chicken can come into play. White Chicken's ability to curse aliens is done something handy in Andromeda, which is able to warp. But White Chicken is actual game, even when it is respectable chip damage. While this doesn't completely stop it, thus, this does deal extra damage to Andromeda, and on top of that, disabling Andromeda's chance to warp allows you to switch on Nova. So, for the it's a very basic alien angle. The problem with Soap here is always with the fact that it's not warping. But if White Chicken is able to curse Andromeda, then Soap would be able to follow Andromeda. This is not perfect though, because Soap still does get melted by the Threat War there, and sometimes there's only just moments where Andromeda is not hit by White Chicken, and then Andromeda would just warp Soap and but anyway, having White Chicken have in the team was actually very helpful. Not just to disable Andromeda's warp, but it also helps disable Dash on At first, it might not seem like a big deal given that Dash on is usually one-shot everywhere and can't shoot like great, and that was true at first. But as it turns out, pairing White Chicken with Skeleton for Deadshot is insanely good. Oh, wow, you're already dead? What? Oh my gosh, I didn't care if these first actually got quite a lot there. How did Skeleton was good before Judas' nature of being a flammable tanker and having vegan, but it's always just slightly not quite what I want. It costs too much money and still kills a little too slow. But turns out, cursing Deadshot with the table was just enough to make the consistency of killing Deadshot with Skeleton way better. With Deadshot that lack of release is enough to give Skeleton way more active and in turn kills Deadshot much faster. Sure, somehow, the best unit is the Deadshot so far, it's not even close. Who needs great watch time? We need Cadaver Bear. Get that out of here. Well, actually, no, it's not that good on the lineup either. Cadaver Bear is just very good at bursting down the Threat War, and Patchy is still very good for cleaning solo corpses and but I decided that Cadaver Bear is actually kind of replaceable. And believe it or not, changes help smoothing the run quite a lot. The initial parts of the stage has always been the majority of the run kill. having Skelecat plus fried chicken combo just allows me to have way more proper runs in where I actually get the Andromeda. Andromeda is getting much more consistent, and stalling Andromeda goes fairly well. But I said more consistent. It's not perfectly consistent. Even with these, it's still just not enough. There's always something that screws me over all the time. I sometimes just not dying. Holy black, just getting screwed up.
Wafer!
I don't like to do it, but
His run is saved.
by the time I look at the stream length, 8 whole hours has passed. I'm running out of steam. I don't think I can go on today. There's progress made for sure, and I feel like the lineup has been the best it's ever been. I'm very confident that I can win if I just put more runs in, but not quite today. And so, even by the end of this 8-hour marathon, and after more than 100 runs, my efforts were done. It's an unfortunate news, but I'm happy. It was really fun, but I still also I'm so I'll have to do it this time again. Once again, Filibuster was too strong, and it is the win for Filibuster. Nothing to do. So, 2 hours. After a great snap down the drain, or you could play any other stage in this game. It was 8 hours of pure physical. It's non-stop life station for 8 hours long. And you might think, wow, that must have been miserable. And you would be wrong, actually. Yeah, you'd be wrong. If anything, I think the reason why I was able to go through for like 8 hours was because I was enjoying the stage. It might sound odd, but the stage just itch for me. It's just the right amount of challenge to make me rack my brain without being frustrating. Anything that went wrong in stage is often avoidable, whether it's timing, and changing lineup always feels like it's happening in. Putting a unit out for a new unit in will always make dealing with something slightly easier, but dealing with something harder. The ultimate goal is finding that right balance in lineup and strategy where every threat is beatable. And that's just fun. Figuring out the stage is exhausting, but it's a nice kind of exhausting. It's a fair challenge. Even though there are some frustrating parts about the stage, like the warp RNG or the semi-randomness of follows, it still feels like kind of a fair challenge, you know? After all, there's still things that I can do that is under my control to maximize my chances. Adding fried chicken to first Andromeda, while it's a perfect solution, does decrease the chances of Astronda screwing me over by warp, and the addition of Oril helps a lot with trade follows. Plus, adding fried chicken ended up with new discoveries that I didn't plan to, with how he ends up pairing extremely well with Skelecat for Judgment. The fact that there's always something new to learn and to discover about the stage, and there's always improvements to be made, makes me feel like I'm always progressing. There's much of people that think that this game has been torture, but I really think it's the other way around. I normally wouldn't have stream battles for more than 4 hours. I always have my brain numbed by the end of it, but this stage got my attention all the way through. Stage 8, it was a very long and exhausting 8 hours, but I genuinely had fun. Once in a while, Ponos just hooks up something insanely good for some reason, and this stage is definitely up there. Ponos did really well with this stage. And I'm saying that before I even was able to start the stage in the first place, you know? I still have yet to get a clear. So, where does this leave us? Is the stage truly unbeatable without relying on pure self-luck, stacking Gardener's hat? At the end, for me, beating Filibuster without clearance, or maybe I'll have to try with my great satisfied
It's a little orange, sure. And another devil, sure. The Book of Sin. Or since. Fuck it. Yeah, Satanic Bible.
is the continuation of the video of my journey to seeing the filibuster outfit.
Ancient.
If you haven't watched the first video, I highly recommend you watching that before watching this one.
The tower.
Filibuster.
The hermit.
Ooh.
Let's pick up where we left off. Last time I had just finished an 8-hour on-stream attempt. Ever since its release, this stage has quickly become infamous for its difficulty, and I can see why. Even after days of play, it still felt like I've only done it because there's still so many problems to figure out, and all of the enemies are so problems of their own. Like the starting Death Hunt that is perfect with big range into the 10 freezer units. Then comparing Andromeda and Dreadnought with big range and melee range enemies that your defenses. They're pretty much all there together. I'll make the biggest cut of all, they fly. And these micro units really especially one shot most units. And of course, the boss, the Obstructor, that can one-shot your base from very far away if not interrupted quickly or not hit to the enemy. Dealing with the enemies one by one ain't so bad, but only being able to bring 10 units in a lineup to deal with such a huge array of enemies that needs to be dealt with in their own unique ways is a massive issue, especially when the enemies often require very different solutions. Like, aside from the ones that I've mentioned, there's also Ultra Bomb, an enemy that basically requires you to spare one slot for a unit with a barrier filter. All of this just ends up with a seemingly impossible balancing act and lineup creation, where trying to solve everything ends up just spreading the focus too thin on all enemies, and ends up solving itself. Or at the very least, thoroughly possible, but it just requires the stars to align. It needs the best RNG and the perfect execution. And that's basically where we left off last time. I don't want to re-explain every single thing about the stage, but anyway, now let me paint you a picture of what happened since our previous stream. It was the 7th after an 8-hour stream. I was still like I said, I knew that it was steadily, but it felt like I just didn't play perfectly what I wanted, and also was lucky enough. But 8 hours apparently was just not enough. I was way too invested, but maybe that's enough for the day. I'll have to just wait. Though unfortunately, I can't get that much instead. This takes a Monday and Monday, I didn't really get that much. The day after Tuesday is finally started. As I did my run today, I made some observations. Nothing in life has changed.
The sun.
But anyways, these improvements make the question impact and up to the point where I figured that I might have enough units ordered to support the front line production. Maybe with these changes, I can try to purchase for the start. Previously, I thought that I the front team and the production team. The front team will push filibuster, and the production team went into production. But I thought it was new. Because I expected actually Death Hunt would take way too long. And I also thought that people would be easy to wait for Death Hunt to never snack strategy, which was inconsistent and just plain frustrating. But now that I'm able to do Death Hunt faster than before, my initial thought was, well, maybe I can make the front line progressive, get rid of from all the stuff that we made, push filibuster, all of them, something like that. I can still back them up and get rid of push once that shot is dead. This means that I'll just have to bring up faster units like Rifle and the Helmet, then once Deadshot is dead, I'll be able to follow up with something in progress. It feels like it would just be worth it to just up. Previously, the success of the front is a big part of whether a run dies or not. Not only does the front team determine whether the base or not in the match, but there's also massive issues in between especially how you have various influence of what front if your weakness are always on the that's why you have to draw it and turn on the power because the melee outside units will make you the result of the but maybe not so much of it. I don't think it's high for even just even if the front team fails, I can still push some more after I push that. This makes all being consistent. Was what I initially thought, but after doing a lot more runs, it feels like I'm always just a tad too late. Even with Shigong and Hachi helping the Scale Academy Fried Chicken combo, it's not quite the fastness that I want. I'm always just slightly too late for Stromada would appear slightly too fast. And once Stromada is already away, it's nearly impossible to do much. So I did a little bit of an experiment today. I tried using Shigong for a certain event. Then you might think, it could be Rover again, the one you previously used to stall Stromada. You're going back to the old reliable eraser tab, or maybe even the eraser tab. No. The beach field that I bought was ramen. Yeah, of course, ramen cat, because it's fast even outside of Angel's, right? No, I got ramen for combo. Well, the combo that I've already used before, so this might not be that surprising, but ramen is really not actually cannon product. Only last went on Burrow system. Previously, this was used for the Gardener attack in order to breed the Neshman so that Gardener can have a better free. But we're not doing Gardener attack. Normally, Photograph would come down to a good portion of zombies enemies, but when used on a Burrow zombie, this effect is significantly even on a giant and this would absolutely result and so I went to experimenting with the flying. The idea is I would set up a front line attack, let Deadshot burrow past me, and then unburrow Deadshot for massive damage. But I mistimed it and unburrowed Deadshot too fast, and here twice we kept flying from fast. And twist. Unburrowed finally. You know what? Maybe this is better. Maybe I should have a whole new idea popped in my mind, and I think I just realized I might be playing this wrong the whole time. I have an idea that's much simpler that I should absolutely test right away. Spoilers, this idea instantly works. What is this idea? Well, what if I just completely ignore the idea of having a front line? Instead of separating my units so that I have certain units to help me buster, what if I just all of my units from Deadshot? Like I said, I'm just having units, one for the front and one for the back. With this, I've always thought that Deadshot would way too much skill, and therefore Filibuster would just finish his attack before I'm able to finish killing Deadshot. But given how fast my units can kill Deadshot now, and how massive only last health cut, I could totally just shred Deadshot fast enough to kill it before Filibuster even gets to attack. This is way too simple and way more basic than splitting the two enemies. I've been overcomplicating this start off for way too long. I should have thought about this. This is way simpler than expected. And then waiting for this to do, all I needed to do was just stack a bunch of anti-zombies at the start, instead of stacking something to quick for the booster, and then unburrow Deadshot into the middle of my mass amount of anti-zombies. and with my skeleton plus my chicken combo on top of the blast stripping down basically half of Deathstroke's health, Deathstroke was felt really bad. I don't need to interrupt Filibuster, Deathstroke just melts, and I can just focus on pushing Filibuster right after that. With this strategy, the randomness of the starting solo was kinda non-existent. I mean, don't this is still so something short, but with the Deathstroke gone, I have constant attackers to push through and to replace themselves. The start off changes everything, and from here on out, many of the interactions just change. Now since the team split don't happen anymore, and I can faster, I can push Filibuster all the way back to the enemy base with a full power team. Pretty sure I couldn't do the whole thing that I did of like immediately luring Mastromda all the way back to base to avoid Filibuster's blast, because I could just zip off Mastromda to his enemy while disrupting Filibuster at the same time. I would have enough power to solve the takedown of Mastromda from further away from the stage without of course this doesn't last forever, mainly because Dreadfort installation to light up with their very Definitely not what you said over the top. This is good, but God has to have a good guarantee to always blast the top position of Andromeda and Dreadfort at the time, but the top Nova is light. I think it's still the fight with Nova and unfortunately, this economy starts I mean, she could work, but I think at this point things are going well enough without her, so I don't feel the need to slot her in. And so I devised a strat for Dreadfort too. I can't quite stall Astromeda and Dreadfort at the same time, but I can hold Astromeda off without too much support for a good amount of time, and she can go and fight the top. As a reminder, my chicken is a midwinter with the power to curse relics, zombies, and healers. Curse was disabled to enemy heroes, which means disabling Astromeda to continue warm. This pairs very well with Soap, a basic alien tanker with very low health. Usually, Soap would just get warped away by Astromeda, but my chicken can disable that from happening. So, combined together, while even without so this is where I can do. The one at the front is going to hold off Astromeda as much as possible, and then by letting Dreadfort burrow past the I can have another set of Phoenix's back ready to Dreadfort as quickly as possible. Calicap isn't the best for this, but it is tanky enough to work together with Shield, and without any other instructions from other enemies, they can still kill the Dreadfort at a reasonable pace. With this, I would just never have to deal with Astromeda and Dreadfort together at the exact same time. Then, after Dreadfort is nuked, we can just have to deal with Astromeda that should be ideal in order to get down. The rest of the base should play on about the same deal in this plan. Move Astromeda back to the base to avoid the flash as possible, and hopefully you have enough power to also make you back and hit the Filibuster before the other attack. And with this switch of strategy, we just work together so much more better, and I this is it. I think this is the strategy. And so I do some more runs, and after runs after runs, I'm like, a little bit more improvement here and there. I just want to do something improvement here and there. Not get a little bit more. I think a few more tries this run.
Number one, walking.
hematemesis.
This man just saved my entire run, giving me more time to not break his act. Finally, with all the bosses dealt with, the others completely defenseless. They just done here. I've done it. I've won. It's finally over. It's a lighter like oh, it's simple. I didn't really get my win this one. I mean, effectively I won, but before I get to finish the face off, I went to stage. Yeah, I didn't clear it. Maybe this page is good player. Once I beat it, it's on. I can't play it anymore. Wouldn't want that to happen. I have some unfinished business. Beating Filibuster was my own way. Yeah, but after this much attempt, I may have to go through some. Remember what I said? I said, I think. That's right, bud. We're not aiming for the player. We're aiming. So I felt that's the best I've been. Run, especially about the novel. The strap is enough to beat stage 1 and maybe not good enough for people, but I want to show and I want to I can do it. And so stage 1 is I did not quite a single time. Hold on, hold on. So I am done with waiting and it's not like I just like no, like I think I just because like my battle has the count. You know how every time you fight your console up that's just outside the player and they always have access to have I ever first item in my account. Like whenever I'm past that, I've always said, oh, never like item. But now, well, actually, that's really high. My account is very 8 hours average. On Monday, 8 I just do that to attempt. I was on work, so there was barely any attempt to go to but the business of December, that's Tuesday, it was after time, that's the link for my run. But then, like I realized the way to play that I'm employed according to a run of the Rich Cat. And today is Tuesday. I came to farm Rich Cat next week. The Rich Cat power up playable only on Monday. And I have just skipped playing Battle Cats that they entirely. I only have a few Rich Cats. I don't think I would have enough Rich Cats to do all of the attempts that I do my run. I mean, I just like anything. After a while, I just ran out of time. Pretty much good. And if I'm like that, which has that means I was not fine. So then, I what happened here, I asked sort of press time. Back in the game, I asked him, he can help me out. He gave the save file, and I asked him, give me an answer.
Oh, I actually beat it! Wow! Oh god, that's delirious.
So they did. They edited my save file with my brand new Rich Cat leaderships and speedups, and then
I can do it.
My save speedup, Rich Cats, and leadership. I'm good.
I did not have a lot of hits left, huh?
Health up.
I've given a lot of that's how I put this. We do this. Then we go to the big, oh wait, there's a big room right here. Perfect. Oh god, that's awesome. See fucking chest on. The damn dark room just goes so well. Nice try, buddy. With defense. Hey, look at chess. That would have been so good. Last floor. Oh my god, it explodes into brims. And it exploding in the brim is so fun. Wish I had flight. Flight would be fun. Alright. I choose you. Unwind the battery. I choose you. I'm good. Car battery. Just a bunch of batteries. No chance. I've still never been to the best. I'm about to defeat, hopefully defeat Delirium for a second time. So now I want to get the charge first, because if that is Delirium. Michael, where are you? Mr. Bull. No. Right, I have car battery. Wait a minute. Oh, is that this? That's awesome. Alright. That's right. Bye. Nice. Nice. Watch. No, it's not. I don't know what you are. Yeah, look at that. Magic 8 Ball, shot speed up with Mother is watching. You. Oh, fire. Mom's heart. Not hitting moves. Straight up mom's heart. Pentagram. Damage. Alright, Delirium. Oh shit, ooh, baby. Does this count? It'd be very funny if this counted. Well, I beat Blue Baby for the first time. I don't know if that's gonna count. What I need? 4 of answers.
so very cool.
Right, Delirium. Let's go. That's a big. He has a pickaxe here. So, hey! My second Delirium kill! On a character I've barely ever played. That's insane. Hopefully the game doesn't crash this time. Hop in the chest and save the recording, just in case.